Our next speaker, Brian Benke. Lost. Lost. Brian Benke.
Have you ever found yourself saying, "It looks so easy on the map"? Madam Contest Chair and fellow Toastmasters, and anyone who knows what it's like to be lost. Getting there is just not that easy. The military was trying to teach me land navigation at a school for chaplains. Now, just to put things in the right perspective, not all survival training is the same. For instance, if you have Navy SEALs over here and Girl Scouts over here, chaplains would be somewhere over here. It was my turn to lead the 4-man team through the jungles of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I was looking at my compass, focusing on a fixed point, counting my paces, watching my step, when suddenly something registered in my mind. Hey, nice piece of black coiled-up rope on the ground. I wonder what... Stop! I nearly let out a chaplain war cry. But instead, I managed, in cool Navy SEAL fashion, hold up. Looks like we got a water moccasin here. We must leave this guy alone and go around. I'd kept my composure. Unfortunately, it took everything I had, including that part of me that was remembering where we were. We were lost. 4 chaplains without a prayer. The reasons they don't let chaplains lead people to battle aren't just religious. Have you ever felt lost in life? We can get lost in life just like we can get lost in the woods. One of the most common ways people get lost is when they choose to avoid their character compass. That ability we have to discern right from wrong. My compass's name is Phil, because he sounds like Dr. Phil. Back in college, I had a sweet job. I could make my own hours. I had excellent benefits and decent pay. I worked for a top administrator in the school district, Mr. T. Now, Mr. T was one of the brightest, kindest embezzlers that you'd ever meet. He stole money and computers from special education. Oh. Now, when this first came to my attention, Phil had something to say. Dude! That's what he calls me. What are you thinking? Now, Phil, it's not that big a deal. I'm just doing my job. The problem is, Phil wouldn't listen. He wouldn't compromise. And since my course was set, Phil needed to be ditched. Did I mention I was studying to be a minister at this time? It didn't take long to realize that I was losing my way. What's more, I felt as if I lost part of myself. It's what the Greeks call psyche, your soul or truest self. Realizing that something needed to change, so I dropped studying for the ministry. Have you ever ignored your character compass? How did that work for you? It never improves your decisions. One day, Mr. T called me up. Brian, I want you to pick up a box and ship it to my daughter in New York. All right. So I took this box to UPS, and they checked the packing. And there it was. inside a brand new Macintosh with a bright blue city school sticker on top. I knew what Phil would say. I snapped some photos, and I went to my car to think. If I turn this guy in, my job goes away, because what I do is something very different from what it says on the books. The easiest thing to do is to just leave things as they are, keep the status quo. But for me, that meant heading nowhere at full speed. How's that working for you? Phil! Dude, you've sacrificed your character, your principles, the very man you desire to be, on the altar of convenience. You need the courage to do what's right rather than what's easy. Phil was right. It was time to face another snake. I turned him in. He went to jail. My job disappeared. And I was given something less than equivalent. But I would do it again in a heartbeat because I regained my true self. Each of you has a character compass, just like I have Phil. It's up to you to choose to follow it, to ignore it. So what will you do the next time you're presented with the opportunity to do what is right over what is easy? You see, following your compass won't necessarily bring you lots of money, but it will give you that something money cannot buy, your truest self. Follow your compass. For when you do, not only will you be moving forward, you will be headed in the right direction.